This clip is from the Boundary Riders podcast, and if you do enjoy this, then make sure to check out the full episode out every single Wednesday morning on YouTube and Spotify. Now let's move on and talk about North Melbourne, because they're sitting in seventh. They're sitting below Richmond right now. This team, who were, by the way, not expected to win a game this season, they're sitting with a percentage that is the fourth worst in the competition. They have got just a better percentage than Essendon, who has lost a third of their list through injury this year, and are playing. They've got about, I think, 10 or 11 players that have played less than 10 games in their team regularly now. Where is this club at? Because they're sitting in 17th position. I can't see them finishing any higher than 16th right now. They don't have their first round pick because they traded it away to Richmond, who are sitting pretty at the moment. They are doing better than North Melbourne, and they're going to get pick, 2 and 3 in the draft. Probably moves down one because of Oscar Allen and compensation, but they're still going to get, Richmond are going to get 2 picks in the top 5, while North Melbourne are going to get none of it. They're not going to get any of it. So they're going to have to try and fight to potentially try and get themselves up in the draft, but what a debacle of a trade that was. Who they pick up? They picked up one of the Whitlock brothers. Could be a star. Who knows? But they also could be picking up a star in the draft, but they're not. They won't have the chance to do that because they traded it away. Stupid decision. And now they're sitting in a position where they're not going to finish any higher than what they did in the last few seasons. They have 4 wins, 1 draw from their 18 games so far this season, and it's not looking pretty for the rest of the year. They continue to get beaten in games. Nick Larkey looks like he may be out. I mean, look, he may come back, but he's been suffering with an issue with his PCL. I mean, do you really want to risk that for the rest of the season? Like, you really don't have much else to play for. I mean, what can they do from here? Maybe win a game or 2, maybe finish in 16th or 15th. Is that really worth risking one of the best key forwards in the game? I don't tend to think so. So I just don't know where they go from here. They've picked up all these players, these experienced players, to help them build with these young kids. They have shown some signs throughout the year where we've been thinking, okay, this team is about to come along. We're about to finally see a North Melbourne side that we want to see every week. We saw it earlier in the year against Melbourne, and then I think it was a couple of weeks later, or even a week later it was, they played at Sydney, got smashed, and we were like, North Melbourne's crap again. We saw them, battle in games throughout middle part of the year. We saw them get a draw against Brisbane, the premiers, and then they beat Carlton. And, even though it was only by 14 points, they had that game won at 3/4 time. And we were like, finally, North Melbourne are back. And then they get smashed a week later by Hawthorn. It's starting to get really frustrating. North Melbourne are just continually just cock teasing all of us, like, yes, we are about to show you guys how good we are, but not yet. How long do we have to wait until we get to see a North Melbourne team that is competitive? Because we see this sort of thing every single year from the Kangas. They play a couple of good games throughout the year, and we're like, okay, we've finally seen some signs here that this team is going to improve, that this team is going to be around, pushing towards that 10th spot, pushing around the 8. We want to see that sort of performance. They have a pretty strong list, of a team. They have some problems, like every team does. I think their defense probably is a bit lackluster. Griffin Logue, Aiden Core, like their experienced key defenders. I think they need someone who's a bit better. Charlie Comben has shown good signs this year, but he needs help, and I think that's a pretty fair statement. Up forward, they have some good magnets up there. They have the likes of Curtis, Zerha, Larkey, but then it kind of falls off, doesn't it? And then Zerha is very inconsistent. Curtis had a really good start to the year, but since then he's kind of dropped off since that suspension. And then Larkey, he's so heavily relied on, and he doesn't have much help. Jack Darling, waste of a trade. Don't know why they did that. Just didn't work. Hasn't really worked at all. Let's be real. They've got a couple of other kids that they've played through the forward line. Like, where's Eddie Ford? He looked like he was going to come along. He isn't getting games. They're giving games to players like Robert Hanson Jr., who's shown a couple of signs, but overall not much. Cooper Harvey's came in the last few weeks and done okay, but is he going to be a star? Is he going to be that small forward that they need? Who knows? Maybe. their midfield is so stacked, and yet it gets beaten up every 2 or 3 weeks. And if their midfield doesn't absolutely star, they're not in contest at all. Davies Uniacke, I still think he's probably a B plus grader at best. He's still not that A grader. We've seen his A grade best at times, but not consistently. Harry Sheasel, they've been chucking him back. They've put him as centre forward. He's not really using the ball that well. I love how Kane Corns has gone silent on him now, but his score involvements haven't really increased, which was something he was so adamantly, so angry about. They've chucked McKercher at halfback. He's butchering the football. Caleb Daniel really isn't doing much, I would say. I love the inclusion of Luke Parker. What a season he has had for the Roos in his first season. He has shown why he was recruited to the club. Jai Simpkins been up and down. Tristan Cherry has been brilliant, let's be honest. But there's so many stragglers in this club right now. They've got players like Will Phillips getting games. What a shit show that was in that draft period. They missed on Logan McDonald, and then 2 years later they missed on Aaron Cadman. They picked up Wardlaw and Sheasel, which was good. But again, Wardlaw's been injury prone since then. There's just so many question marks about the Kangaroos. And when are they going to finally come to the AFL and say, prove to the competition that they are a club to watch? Because right now, the only team they're sitting above is the West Coast Eagles, who have got one win and are on track, the West Coast, to have one of the worst seasons in AFL history, by the way. We've only seen a few teams in AFL history get one win in a campaign. We saw the Giants in 2013, which was their second year in the AFL. And we've seen, I think it was Sydney Swans back in the early 90s and Fitzroy in their last season in the AFL. That's how bad a season West Coast are having. And North Melbourne are just above them. I am sick and tired of looking at North Melbourne every week on the fixture and thinking, oh, what another crap game to watch. But then they tease us all the time. They're like, oh, great, we're going to be good. We're showing some signs. We're really improving. We're doing this and that. But they just don't do it consistently. And we're sitting here now, round 2025, and they continue to just tease us and act like this team is going to be something in the next few years. Like, what is their run home? I'd like to actually see it just quickly, because they've got the Cats this week. That's at Marvel. They lose that. St Kilda have a bit of a chance. Who knows? GWS, they get killed. Richmond down in Tasmania. They haven't done well in Tasmania in more recent times, so I'd honestly be looking at Richmond in that game. And then the last game against the Crows. That one's got the hallmarks of 150-point thumping. So maybe they get one win. They could knock off St Kilda. They could. But overall, they're not finishing higher than 15th. There's going to be another bottom four finish. They may get 6 wins. They surely should be getting more than that nowadays. I know I've ranted about North Melbourne for a bit now, but they just continue to frustrate me. And I'm not even a North Melbourne fan. Like last week against the Swans, I thought they could have put up a bit of a fight, but they did for a bit. But overall, they were there for 3 quarters. But overall, I think the Swans didn't really put them away. And in that final term, how do you not have someone on Isaac Heaney to kick 5 goals? Like, Isaac Heaney's an amazing player, right? But surely, at stoppage, we saw how good Brodie Grundy was last week against the Saints 2 weeks ago. Won them the game off his own hand. And then they got, 2 goals, I think, easily from the stoppage. Like, how was that not coached at the start of the round saying, hey, Grundy is tapping to the outside of the stoppage to try and get his midfielders on the fly. And what happens? They get done straight at it. And that's their Onewood, North Melbourne, is their stoppage work and their midfield play. And they just got done by Sydney in the last term. Yeah, it's just getting continually frustrating. The West Coast Eagles, I talked about a moment ago, they're going to ask for a priority pick. I don't think they deserve it. North Melbourne, look at all the priority picks and concessions the AFL have tried to give them to try and get this club back to relevancy, and they continue to just crap all over it. Just gets frustrating year on year. But who knows? Maybe they can bring in some players in the off-season, and maybe they can tease us again. But I'm not gonna fall. I'm not gonna fall for it. I want to say I don't want to fall for it. I've fallen for it for a couple of years now, but I don't know if I can do it anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It just continues to frustrate me, the Kangas. But